With islands shrinking,
I would say within the next 5-10 years, this will all be covered.
and ice melting,
Alaska's glaciers are retreating and thinning and contributing more to sea level rise disproportionately than any other places in the planet.
Alaska is grappling with its new climate reality, and the consequences are being felt across the world.
The ice is vital to us because that's what stops the wave action. Without the ice forming and staying in place, then that's where you lose like 1 to 3 to 6 feet of land a day.
This remote island is ground zero for climate change in Alaska. Shishmaref sits just north of the Bering Strait. With a population of less than 600, their home is under threat. Dennis has lived on Shishmaref for over 20 years. He's watched rising temperatures and thawing permafrost gradually erode the coastline.
So we're less than 100 yards from the runway, and if it gets to the runway, then we can't use it anymore. We use the runway for medevacs, we use the runway for getting all our food flown in, all our mail and passenger service going to and from Nome. The storms are getting more violent and the ice isn't forming and the water is warming. I would say within the next 5-10 years, this will all be covered. Easy. Just that 1 or 2 degrees makes a big difference.
It's not just Alaska's shores that are being reshaped by our changing climate, but its ice fields too. The once mighty Portage Glacier has retreated nearly 5 kilometers in the last century. That's about the length of 55 American football fields.
Temperatures in the Arctic are rising more than anywhere else in the United States and the world, and because of that, glaciers are melting more here in Alaska, and because they're melting more in Alaska, they're contributing more to sea level rise. 76 gigatons of ice was lost, which is a crazy number. A gigaton is 1 billion tons. And what does that mean for sea level rise? During that loss of glacier ice during that period, it was corresponds to 8 millimeters of sea level rise, which doesn't seem like a lot, but if this trend continues, it's going to continue having rising sea levels.
And as glaciers disappear, so do our controlled supplies of water.
We're no longer going to have drinking water for cities. We might not have any hydropower potential, especially for agricultural needs. We would have water only maybe during the winter months and not during the summer months. During the dry periods, there would be no water.
Now, the last frontier is also the canary in the mine.
What's happening here is ultimately going to happen in California, going to happen in New York, it's going to happen in Louisiana, which is already happening. Every community or city that's on the coast needs to know what the heck's going on here, because if not, it's going to start washing away.
On Shishmaref, melting ice is forcing changes to centuries-old traditions of hunting and fishing.
Right now we're supposed to be fishing in the lagoon and up the rivers. Now we've got to wait till like December, probably January, to start going up again. It's very important to not only myself but the whole community for teaching the traditional way of life.
Temporary fixes like the seawall around the island are no longer working. And elders like Alfred fear that relocation may be the only option.
Yeah, my house back in the early 90s stretched out about 20 feet right where you see the ice. The water breaks. And due to global warming, the storms eroded the sand away and took my house away throughout the years. Shishmaref eventually will have to relocate at one point. It's not going to be here forever. But while we're here, we just got to keep our tradition going. Just try to keep going strong. Shishmaref will always be right here in our hearts, you know. It'll never leave us. This will always be a home.